minor league baseball really is a boot camp for working in business.
Lauren Griswold, Chief Communications and Marketing Officer at Boise State University.
Your experience runs the gamut from sales to marketing to operations. You're doing things that, most businesses wouldn't ask other people to do.
You're pulling tarp.
You're pulling tarp. You're there at 8 a.m. There's a rain delay. You're in a suit having to change and then run out to the field and pull the tarp so that you can continue your business, your operations, because you can't delay your product for the next day.
Holiday drills in right field.
I think working in minor league baseball at such a young age taught me a lot about the business world, operations, but then also kind of gives you that grit and that resiliency, that hustle, hustle sports, but hustle just in life in general for business. And I've taken that with me to Boise State. I never asked an employee to do something I wouldn't do myself.
Yeah.
And I am the first to roll up my sleeves and dig in and do the things that need to get done. And that's what minor league baseball teaches you how to do.
It's so important. All right, before we get started, we got a couple more podcasts to go. I'm feeling great. Got to give a shout out to our sponsor, Open Fortune. Open Fortune is the media arm of the Fortune Cookie. What does that mean, though? They have partnerships with all the distributions and producers of the traditional Fortune Cookie, reaching 47,000 restaurants in over 40 DMAs, and giving a platform to brands to reach their consumer while they feast and while they're thinking about their future. So shout out Open Fortune for renting out the Museum of Ice Cream and bringing us these awesome episodes today. Hey everybody, and welcome back to How the Fuck Did You Get That Job, where we delve into the intriguing career paths of dynamic professionals and where I, your host, am eager to reveal the twists and turns of their success. Today, in the hot seat is Lauren Griswold, a communications and marketing expert with a flair for strategy and storytelling. Lauren laid her educational groundwork with a BS from Eastern Washington University and then leveled up with a master's in communication studies from Arizona State University. Lauren's professional career is marked by a diverse range of experiences. She kicked off in the sports world as Director of Community Relations at the New Britain Rock Cats Baseball Club, and then as an account executive with the Seattle Mariners. Her skill set then in communication and marketing further flourished at Edelman, a global communications firm where she served as an account executive. The world of academia then beckoned, leading her to Arizona State University. Over 4 years, she rose to become the Director of Creative Strategy and Implementation. Her journey continued at Mount Hood Community College as the Director of Marketing and Communications. Today, Lauren is at the forefront of university communications at Boise State University, where she's been the Chief Communications and Marketing Officer for over 4 years now. So, Lauren, how the fuck did you get that job?
Well, thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, of course.
There's no straight line to how you rise to a position. And I feel really honored to serve as the Chief Communications and Marketing Officer at Boise State. I actually started my career in professional sports. And it started really when I saw a woman standing on the field at a baseball game with a headset on during the national anthem, kind of organizing players and media. And I wanted to ask her, how did you get that job? So I did. This was back in 2003, really before email existed. And I found out who she was by looking at the paper program. And I gave her a call and asked what she majored in college. And so from there, I switched my major and I set my sights on working in professional sports. I'd say my journey has really been a lot of hard work and also a lot of luck. It's really a combination of both. And I was the tenacity that I had as a 21-year-old. I basically called the Seattle Mariners Director of Community Relations at the time every day and asking for an internship until she hired me. And finally they said, yep, you can come and work for the team. And it really starts with networking. I was really fortunate to meet a lot of amazing people during my career journey along the way that helped shape me and get me to my current position. So it's not a lot about me and necessarily just that hard work, but how their influence and how their help me achieve my dreams. So working for the Seattle Mariners, really a dream job. walking into an empty field every day, smelling the grass, eating hot dogs. I probably eat more hot dogs than most people do in their entire lifetime. People would think that I would be crazy leaving a position like that. But, with the success that I saw as a 28-year-old, I really knew that I needed to kind of upskill, reskill myself, refocus on communications and marketing, because that was truly my passion. And I was more on the sales side.
So even before baseball, because I'm excited to talk about like minor league baseball and New Britain and all that fun stuff, was it sports that you always wanted to do when you grew up, or even when you were like in first grade? What do they,
Nope.
What did you want to do?
Absolutely not. I mean, I think the average number of times people change their
Sure.
majors and their ideas is like 5 to 7. I actually wanted to be a doctor. One of my grandfathers was the chief of the medical school at Oregon Health Sciences University for cardiology. And I have a passion for helping people. And I had set my sights on becoming a doctor. I declared a major in biology when I first went to college. And now I've just found a different way of helping people through education. So I actually think he'd be really proud knowing that even though I'm not a doctor, he really believed in the educational system on the medical school side of things, that I'm doing the same for a university, just in a different way.
I'm with you. My dad and mom were actually docs, but I got to see in high school bio, and then it was like, well, you got farther than me. You declared the major. Like, I was a sport management major through and through.
I had a biology professor whose specialty, and you don't know this when you're 18, 19 years old, he specialized in salmon migration and was not the most helpful to young aspiring students who wanted to go in the medical field, because all he really wanted to do was research. And so that really kind of deterred me, because I, as an 18, 19, 20-year-old, you think, oh, like this person really believes in you, but he didn't believe in any of us. So it took away from my passion for wanting to move forward. And when I saw the woman at the Portland Beavers at the time on the field, I was like, this looks like something, a complete departure.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that was a job. Like, how can I do something
especially
fun?
like women in sports, right? Like
every day. Especially back then.
Yeah. And it's more and more popular now, but still, especially back then, like people were just getting into it. So and I think like it's really cool that you ended up calling them, right? And kind of creating your own job from it, right? Yeah. When she picked up the phone, what was that call like?
It's like a complete cold call, and you're introducing yourself as a college student. And at the time, I was looking for an internship. So they have been really receptive. It was always like, sure, yeah, putting you off. Give us a call next week. Give us a call in 2 weeks. Give us a call in a month. But I never gave up. And so I think, and it's similar to what I see in young people who call me and ask for internships. It is kind of the squeaky wheel that gets the oil. So I think when you see someone with that tenacity, you see that they're really passionate about it. Those are the kind of people you want to surround yourself with, and who you want to invest your time in to help shape the next generation of the workforce.
Absolutely, too, and especially in sports, because there's a lot, like just supply and demand. There's only a certain amount of jobs, and everybody wants to work in sports. Like, you kind of got to do things a little differently. What do you think you learn? You get to New Britain, Connecticut, right?
Yeah.
Not a lot going on.
No.
Right? Like,
no.
What do you think you learned from minor league baseball and that you take into what you're doing at Boise?
Well, I think minor league baseball really is a boot camp for working in business. Your experience runs the gamut from sales to marketing to operations. You're doing things that most businesses wouldn't ask other people to do.
You're pulling tarp.
You're pulling tarp. You're there at 8 a.m. There's a rain delay. You're in a suit having to change and then run out to the field and pull the tarp so that you can continue your business, your operations, because you can't delay something for your product for the next day. So it really, I think working in minor league baseball at such a young age taught me a lot about the business world, operations, but then also, kind of gives you that grit and that resiliency, that hustle, hustle sports, but hustle just in life in general for business. And I've taken that with me to Boise State. I never ask an employee to do something I wouldn't do myself. And I am the first to roll up my sleeves and dig in and do the things that need to get done. And that's what minor league baseball teaches you how to do.
It's so important. I can empathize because I did it. So
I love that you know how to pull tarp.
Oh, 100%.
And
100%.
it smells.
Rain delay, this whole thing.
Unglamorous thing you can possibly think of.
Yeah, it's way less cool than doing the YMCA at Yankee Stadium. It's and there's no fans there, and it's
Absolutely.
tough, but it teaches you. It taught me a ton, and I think I do bring that into like what I do in running marketing here, because it's just you need to get your hands dirty at sometimes, and there's no task bigger than you. And if you can delegate, great. But like if you're not in the position to delegate, you gotta pull tarp.
I think that's really the sign of a good leader. You kind of named it. There's no task bigger than you, and you should be able to know how to be successful. You know, maybe you're not the expert, but you should know how to do everything that's happening with your team. So I totally agree.
So you get the call to the big leagues.
Yes.
What's that like?
Oh man, it really was a dream. I left the Rock Cats. I was pretty homesick. I was only 23 years old. I moved back to Portland hoping that there was going to be an opening with the Seattle Mariners. And my boss for my internship at the Seattle Mariners called me and said, hey, there's an account executive position. It wasn't in community relations, which I had started my career
It's probably meant a lot of things too.
It was like, and she really wanted to recognize me, recognize that my skill set was more broad, that I had, even though I was only 23, I was at the time the youngest person they'd ever hired for that position. There were only 6 of us that ended up selling. She put a bet on me with the vice president of sales, Frances Traceman, who is an incredible mentor, who really gave me my shot. She listened to her friend Gina Hassan, and Gina said, hey, you've got to bring her on. She's got tenacity, she's got grit, you know, she's going to do really great things.
And what were the biggest things? Sometimes you need somebody to, you know, stand up for you. What were the biggest things that Frances taught you?
I think it's doing the things that matter when no one is watching. It's easy, I think, to be that leader that's talking about, you know, cool strategies and launching a new commercial. But then there's the people that teach you the things that need to happen to be successful in business that aren't necessarily the most fun, like lead generation and, you know, making calls. I'm sure to this day, even though she's senior vice president of the Mariners, probably still holds on to a handful of her clients that she's had for over 30 years because she knows how important that human connection is. And I think that's really modeling that is so important because I try to do the same type of thing for my teams as well. I try to model that same type of behavior because business connections are really important. People are really important. At the end of the day, like our consumers are humans. And so if you come at things from a human angle, like she does and taught me, I think that you can, you know, really thrive.
And you end up, you know, you're at the Seattle Mariners. What were the biggest differences between being a team with that kind of, you know, just enamor and fan and all that versus in the minor leagues?
You know, we had a really strong minor league baseball following with the Minnesota Twins. New Britain is right outside of Hartford. And so we had a lot of sellout games and our in-game entertainment was absolutely amazing. We talk about, like, you see the Savannah Bananas out there. We were doing kind of, even back then in 2005, very fun, exciting in-game experiences for fans that wasn't just about like the players on the field. But beyond that, I mean, when you're moving into the big leagues, you definitely are leveling up. It's bright lights, big stars, big money, and big stakes. And so you're really, when they say World Series, that's the goal. Every single year, every single day, that's the goal. That's what you're trying to reach and get to. And the expectation for that to be a premier organization like the Seattle Mariners isn't just for the players on the field. It's also for the front office. They hired the most high caliber professionals. And honestly, I just went back for the first time in a long time this August. It's where my worlds collided. We had a Boise State alumni night there. So cool. And we had a giveaway of a jersey that has our Boise State logo and our Mariners logo. And it was just the coolest full circle moment I think you could have in your career because it's, you know, putting on both big brands and feeling that pride and that sense of hard work, like what 20 years will get you. Yeah, I think that, working for the Seattle Mariners really, I think, taught me how to be more polished because of the professionalism of working for an organization like that. And, I just went back for that first time. And what happened was I really still feel like I'm part of that organization and a part of that family. And I don't use the word family lightly when I'm talking about business. We have all of our own families. And I think there's, a lot of articles out there like you shouldn't call it work family. But you really feel a sense of that camaraderie when you work for an organization that is so positive and strong and caring. And when you have 81 plus home games a year, hopefully if you're going to the playoffs, like you have to build those strong connections with those people. And even after all this time, I really felt that when I went back this August. I ran into the senior vice president of marketing and vice president of marketing and senior vice president of sales. And what was neat was getting to share with them that they really helped shape me for the career that I have now in higher education and at Boise State, and really thank them. I don't think a lot of times we remember to go back to thank the people that helped us along the way before, when we were calling them every day to get a job. And it felt pretty amazing to get to have that full circle moment and do that.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so cool. And I'm glad that you had that.
Thank you.
So you end up leaving the Mariners for Edelman, right?
I went to graduate school first.
Okay.
I was full-time graduate school.
Okay. So what did the decision look like to go to graduate school for you? Because I know that's something that a lot of our, listeners are in between the ages of 18, 26. There's something that they're thinking about.
Absolutely. I mean, I think a lot of people thought I was crazy for leaving a dream job. And, sometimes I think back to that wow, that was, as a 29-year-old, I don't know, you always question yourself, was that the right thing? I do believe that it was for me at that time. I felt like I was getting too far on the sales side, and my passions lie in communications and marketing. So I started looking for communications programs around the country, and I found the communications program at Arizona State, and was accepted and went there full time. And that was really that moment where I wanted to reset to now, how am I going to start building a more traditional career in communications and marketing? And from there, that's when I went on to Edelman Public Relations.
And what was that like? You're going from, say the Mariners are a big organization, but Edelman's huge.
Edelman's huge. It's the largest, I believe it's still the largest agency in the entire world. They used to have 64 offices worldwide. So moving to agency, again, it's all about who you know. I connected with someone I knew while I was at the Mariners, Sherry, and she helped connect me to the vice president of human resources for Edelman and helped me get that job there. I knew I needed to have that agency experience. Everybody had said, before you go in-house, go with an agency, even if you can do it for a year. It's kind of like the Hunger Games. Yeah. Can you outwit?
Pay your dues type thing.
It was totally paying dues. And even though I was, over 30 now, I had all of that amazing experience in professional sports. I needed to pay my dues in a different way with the agency. But I'll tell you what, that was a sink or swim moment. I feel like I really swam, but it was not easy to get there. And it was a grind. But it helped set me up, and it spurred my trajectory with my current role, I would say 10 times faster than I would have had I not been at the agency.
Absolutely. You hear a lot from people that you kind of need to do it.
You got to do it.
and you learn a lot.
Yep.
But that's awesome that you were able to get that experience. How long were you there for?
I was there for a year, and then I was recruited for higher education.
Okay. So what did that recruitment process look like for higher ed?
Yeah, but they reached out to me. There was a new visionary leader for one of the colleges at Arizona State. Arizona State's the largest university in the country. Over 17 colleges. I believe there's 5 metropolitan campuses. This was a brand new dean for one of those colleges and one of those campuses, and they were building out a marketing team for the first time. That's really, at the time within higher ed, about a decade ago, where we started to see a shift in marketing models. So there was a lot of traditional media relations marketing models, or enrollment marketing models, and brand level marketing models. And so she was we've got to start competing with enrollment. We've got to start generating revenue for our college. And so this new visionary leader, I started to work with. She hired me. She took a chance on me. The recruitment process was very similar in higher ed. You get a lot of recruitment emails and from different organizations. Probably what was attractive about my experience was also that I'd been a graduate student there. I was an alum. And so they saw that I had been an alum. They saw that I was at the agency. They saw that I'd been in private business. And for them, that was really attractive.
And was there a moment that you realized that, like, I like this stuff? Like, I really feel the knack for it?
I didn't know I was going to like higher ed. I mean, I felt strongly.
Well, you spent a lot of time in higher ed,
right,
but not as, working.
Not working, right? And I had a really great graduate experience at Arizona State, and I believed in their brand. And at the time, I didn't know, when you're switching industries, I didn't know it was the most innovative and that it was the largest institution. I mean, I went in a little bit naively, but I really liked the leader. I think that's the number one thing I look for when I'm selecting positions now is who's leading it, who's running it. That's the question I always ask myself. And that was someone I believed in, that I was betting on.
Mm-hmm. And what skills are you looking for in that leader? Because I do think that's true. Like, it is cliche, but it's like an interview on both sides.
It absolutely is an interview on both sides. The most important thing for me, everybody's going to be different. I really thrive in environments where I can work autonomously, where a leader puts their faith and trust in me to execute on my vision. And, collectively I can understand what it is that they're looking for, but they give me the time and the space and the resources to help build that. I'm not one to be micromanaged. I'm definitely one that needs to be let free to fly, I guess is how you would say it. And that's how I treat my team as well. I think that our jobs as leaders is to hire the best people around us that do things better than we would ourselves. And I hope that that's what she thought about me. That's what I think about the people that I hire as well.
I think it's funny you say that too. And like, I can cut this part, but because it's about my story, but like, the minor league baseball thing, I think I was like so overly micromanaged at a minor league baseball team that like now I'm the same way as you, where it's like, I just want autonomy. And it's like from the like work, people talk about work trauma or whatever. It's not that I have like bad work trauma from that experience, but it's like, I think that was like, oh, okay. Like, like we're going to go the full other route. So yeah.
No, I totally agree with that. And I think like you earn it, right? Like I feel like with this position, nothing was handed to me. People open doors and they open windows for you and they let you step in, but you've got to earn everything that you get. And I've earned the autonomy because I've proven myself along the way, but it is hard work, dedication, long hours, doing the things that no one else wants to do when no one asks you to do them. Sure. And that's, I think when you show people that type of dedication, then they give you the autonomy for you to get to go out and explore your vision and to move things forward in the way that you want to do that.
So you end up, you started at the baseball team, you work your way to the big leagues, you go to a bigger organization at Edelman, end up going to a massive university at Arizona State, and then you go to Mount Hood Community College. What were they looking for you to accomplish there, and how big was the difference between working at State and Mount Hood?
Absolutely. So I'm originally from Beaverton, Oregon, and I'm really close with my family. It was my husband and I made the decision. It was really time for us to be closer in proximity in geography to family. And so moving to Mount Hood was a really, there aren't a lot of higher ed jobs within the Pacific Northwest marketplace. It's not like in the Northeast where you have tons of colleges and, a lot of places that you could apply. They're just, geographically far apart. And so that position came available, and I thought, what better way in my career for me to truly understand what it's like for the broad range of students that enter higher education. My mom was a first-generation college student, and my grandmother went to community college after the age of 60. My husband's a first-generation college student that started community college. So when you think of like mission-driven organizations and truly making a difference, it felt really good to go work for a community college so that you could learn not only about like the journey of your stakeholders for a large segment of transfer students when you're at a 4-year institutions, but like really making a difference for social mobility, for impacting people's lives. So I took that role for a brief period of time because we really wanted to be pretty close to my family. What I learned, going from Microsoft budgets with Edelman, that Microsoft was my client, and then moving to Arizona State, my first higher ed job. Wow, I thought it was a small budget. Now I know it's a really large budget because you're trying to compare. And then going to community college, it's eye-opening, especially for marketers. It's very much, if we're looking at, basic comparisons, like an independent baseball team or a single A baseball team versus the major leagues, like you're pulling the tarp, you're working the 8 to 10. We'd have board meetings that would go until 10 p.m. at night. And, I'm working on marketing during the day, and then I'm working with reporters for board meetings and board members at night. Very similar within those ways. But I feel like it gave me a better perspective for me to be good at my job at 4-year institutions. Without having that, I think I wouldn't have and be where I am today either.
And so how did catch me up to speed now? We're at Boise State. Or actually, I'll back up real quick. Am I missing any steps in between Mount Hood?
Nope.
Okay, cool. So I'm curious, Boise State is, everybody knows the blue turf, right? Is that how you kind of learned about Boise State at first, your first time learning about Boise State as like a kid or growing up?
The first time I learned about the blue turf was actually, I played college softball at Eastern Washington. And we came and played Boise State's softball team and went and saw the blue turf.
They have the red turf now, right?
They have the red turf.
But that was
way after. Yeah, absolutely. So the blue turf came in 1989, and it was really disruptive to athletics. We've actually trademarked our blue turf. And so teams that want to have colored turf actually go through our trademark and licensing process, and I approve them.
Very cool.
With our trademarking and licensing Spencer expert, and our general counsel. So we look at all of those requests that come in.
So cool. I didn't even know that, and it's crazy. I have vivid memory of like watching Kellen Moore just like ball out on that field and just being like, this is cool. This is
absolutely
really cool.
Last year we had over 4 million TV viewers for our football games, which was pretty big for us, knowing that our market is our state is smaller than the city of Los Angeles. So when you put those types of things into perspective, 4 million TV viewers is pretty high for us.
That is. And so how did that job come about? Because that's a big job, big title, big brand that's been around for a while. I doubt it was just a LinkedIn job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think we've seen the theme of how
you creating your own jobs.
Yeah, me creating my own jobs and me reaching out to people and building connections. All of my jobs have really come from opportunities that people have given to me because I've proven myself in the past. And so the dean that I told you about from Arizona State was named president of Boise State. And she called me up and said, how do you feel about coming to Boise State?
Very cool.
And I said, I feel great. Yeah. Bring me on. It's only an hour flight from my mom and dad and a 7-hour drive from Portland to Boise. And my husband was so supportive of me moving into this role. I actually started out in a different role. I was associate vice president for creative strategy. It was a brand new position. And what she really was asking me to do was to look at the different communications and marketing models around the country and see how we can modernize and evolve the marketing operations and the strategy for Boise State. And of course, the pandemic hit. A lot of things and people's priorities shifted. The AVP of Communications and Marketing decided to, take a step back, like many people did during that time, and she created the position for me of Chief Communications and Marketing Officer. So it's very much I've helped evolve, and with the buy-in and awesome team, I have the most amazing team on the planet. We restructured and built a more traditional brand marketing office for the university.
And what are some of your biggest challenges with this new role, or with the new role when you were starting?
Absolutely. I mean, taking over any type of new role during a pandemic virtually is going to be hard. But think because we have such an amazing team, people that have been there 20 plus years, who really believe in the university, the mission of the university. The university itself is highly innovative, moving from a community college to a research university. We're a university on the rise. We're up in enrollment, up in research, up in giving, up in trademark and licensing, up in athletics revenue. So when you look at
and Boise just as a place.
Boise is a place, right? Like lots of people are moving there, and it's an exciting place. The people that are in our workforce are also innovative. And so they were so receptive. And I think we're looking for, hey, what's our next evolution going to be? And because they were so bought into that, I didn't have a lot of challenges on reshaping our operations. I had challenges more along the lines of how the university traditionally, prior to the president being there, not resourcing marketing at the same level that a typical brand office would be resourced.
And what's that next thing that you were planning and putting together now?
Absolutely. So we actually went through and launched a new commercial this past February and a new paid media campaign. What's interesting, and there's probably a lot of other universities out there, this was the first time at the brand level we'd ever gone out to market. So we get national spots that are associated with our TV contracts through our conference, and we have national exposure through those spots. We're out at a small scale with our enrollment communications related to digital, but it's pretty tiny. At the brand level, just talking about the value of higher education, the value of a Boise State degree, we hadn't been doing that in a large way. So we just launched that. We also, we're very close partners with our foundation and our advancement team. And we just launched the most ambitious comprehensive campaign in our university's history. So we're looking to raise over $500 million to help the trajectory of the university continue to thrive and move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I heard the stat that's like with over, in 2035, over 50% of universities will be like bankrupt or, absorbed by other colleges. And that's really cool to hear that you guys are doubling and tripling, quadrupling down with what you're doing.
Absolutely. When you look at our growth within all of these areas, I think it's because we have really smart leaders who you have to be evolving. You have to be looking at the industry. You have to be looking at integrating new technologies. And if you're not doing that, you're going to be left behind. So I think we're constantly trying to innovate because we know that we need to lead and not lag.
Yeah. And we've talked a lot, we're wrapping up here. We got to your current job, and it seems like you're stoked about everything you're working on. What are you stoked about in your personal life that you've either accomplished or are currently working on the passion project?
Absolutely. So the thing that I love most, everybody knows, at my work and my family, is my love for mini horses. And I actually found a organization in Boise called Mini Joys, and it's run by Lori and Ken Bell. They are just staples within the Boise community. They have a mini horse ranch with 6 mini horses, 1 donkey, 4 goats, a lot of geese and wild turkeys. And they, mini horses are actually therapy animals. And I'm fortunate enough to get to volunteer with them. We go serve at veterans, with the veterans, with senior citizens, with children with severe disabilities or illnesses. And we bring them either to the ranch or we go out into schools so that they can meet them and learn about them. And it's really something that helps me recharge, that I'm really passionate about. It's a way to give back to the community through something that I love.
Yeah, absolutely. I've never seen a mini horse in person, so I'll need to make my way out
there. They're like the sassiest little animals, and maybe that's why I like them, because I'm full of spunk.
Yeah, I love it. Well, let's get into the lightning round and wrap this up. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Sweet. This lightning round is presented by Open Fortune. Got to give a quick story and shout out to Abby McLean, the Idaho State new commit who opened up a fortune cookie at the D1 level and was deciding to go to play volleyball at Idaho State or play in Virginia. She got a fortune cookie that said, "It's okay. You can stay in the same place and be successful." So she ended up committing to Idaho State and shows the power of the fortune cookie. So without further ado, let's get into our quick question round. Person you most want to sit down to dinner with, dead or alive?
Jason Sudeikis.
I love Ted Lasso. He always.
Love Ted Lasso, believe.
I'm a New York Liberty season ticket holder, and he goes to every game. Every game.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
He seems just like such a cool person.
Yeah.
And not just like on the comedy side, but you can tell he's a good human. He actually this is not lightning, obviously.
Yeah, no, we're taking time. But
my dad's a double amputee, and he volunteers or helps promote this organization called Steps of Faith. And I just think that it's where people who can't afford prosthetics can go to help them pay for prosthetics. My dad's really fortunate that he can pay for his, but I think someone that takes their time to work for an organization like that would be really a cool person to sit down and talk to.
He also, my first cousin, long Flush dancer, but was was a writer for a lot of big TV shows, and he said during the writer's strike, because he's a writer as well, he was out there on the lads every day.
It's awesome.
In front of 30
Rock. Modeling really cool behavior.
Yeah. Very involved. Favorite city in the world?
Paris.
Are you more scared of heights or spiders?
Heights.
Is it okay to sleep with socks on?
Absolutely.
Boom. Favorite rom-com?
Oh, favorite rom-com. Love Actually.
So good. Gonna watch that soon, obviously.
Holidays.
Favorite Boise State grad?
Kellen Moore.
Favorite Eastern Washington grad?
Myself.
There you go.
Or Colin Cowherd. He's
Cowherd.
radio personality, TV personality.
Would you ever live abroad? If so, where?
Absolutely, London or Paris.
In 40 years, what will people be nostalgic for?
Probably human connection without devices.
How do you sum up the internet in one sentence?
Work.
There you go. Is Santa real?
Yes.
Who's somebody you think should hop on this podcast?
Jill Andrews from ASU.
And one thing people don't understand about working in higher ed is?
That it's not political. It's about helping people achieve their dreams. And we're all coming from a place of good.
And in 10 years, where can we catch you?
Hopefully early retirement.
There you go. Sweet. Thanks for coming on. That was awesome.
Thanks.